All over the world, countless numbers of guitar players have strived to write songs. Songwriting is a craft with which you can write about anything, be it an epic romance, a brave adventure, or your epic breakfast you spent more than you should have on. Though there are many ways to write a song, there is a tool that, when used, makes songwriting a whole lot easier. Here is that tool, and a riddle too.
Hello and welcome, fellow travellers. This channel combines guitar lessons and storytelling for educational and entertaining content. If this is for you, then consider subscribing to be entertained wherever you are. On the loo, on a break, on a trip to outer space. Today we're looking at writing a song, with help from our fairy friends. They appeared from another dimension, I'm not sure if you noticed, along with the chest and 4 symbols. What could they mean? But let's stay on track. Songs are made using chords as the harmonic framework. If you know what chords go well together, then you have an excellent foundation for your songwriting. It ultimately becomes much easier to write songs. Chords that come from the major scale are the most common. A lot of songs you hear nowadays refer to major key harmony by using chords that come from major keys. This lesson, therefore, will focus on chords of the major scale and how they interact. Let's start by building a major scale using its relevant pattern of intervals. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. We'll use the key of A major for reference. A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp. Chant with me and let's connect with our fairy friends. Ho, ho, half, ho, 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 half. Ho, ho, half, ho, 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 half. Ho, ho, ha, ho, 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 ha. Ho, ho, ha, ho, 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 ha. It worked! We're bonded! Hello, friends. Will you help me teach this lesson? You want human flesh? I can't give you that, but I can give you cookies. How about it? Yay! Let's do this. In today's music, we number each note from 1 to 7. This numerical system is used as a basis for all the other notes. Here, the A would be a 1, B would be a 2, C sharp would be a 3, and so forth. Now, the numerical system of the major scale is what all other scales refer to. For instance, a 3 means that that note is a major third. If we were to make it a minor third, we would label it as flat 3. To show its relation to the major scale, each note of the major scale is the root of each chord in the scale. Now there are 2 common types of chords, a major and a minor. There's also a dominant and a minor 7 flat 5. These are the chords of the major scale. To build chords in a scale, you start on one note, skip a note, pick the next note, skip a note, pick the next note. So here, the notes of the chord starting on A will be A, C sharp, and E. The intervals between these chords create a major chord. Let's see this in an example. In every chord we need our root note. Our root note of the chord, not the scale. They're 2 different things. So our root note here would be A. So a major chord is built of 2 intervals away from the root. A major third and a minor third. Because we've gone A to C sharp, which is a major third, and then C sharp to E, which is a minor third. So that's 2 intervals away from the root. If we were to change the major third interval between A and C sharp to a minor third interval, which would be A to C, we would now have an A minor chord. So a major chord is built of a major third and a minor third, and a minor chord is built of a minor third and then a major third, away from the root. Yes, still with me. Let's get our little fairy friends to help us out. We have our first chord, A major. Using the same method, we'll build a chord starting on the B note. So we choose B, then skip a note to D, skip a note to F sharp. So the B chord has the notes B, D, F sharp. Between the B and the D note, you have a minor third. Between the D and the F sharp, you have a major third. So here we have a B minor chord, because a B minor is built of two intervals away from the root, a minor third, then a major third. And a major chord is built of a major third, then a minor third. This same process is how we build all of our chords, like so. Now, the dominant chord and the minor 7 flat 5 chord are two different chords to the major and minor, obviously. I'll put some links in the description for a dominant chord, and the minor 7 flat 5, don't worry about it for now, because it's rarely ever used in major key progressions. It's something you can use, however in this lesson we're only going to focus on the major, minor and dominant, because these are the most used chords in popular music today. Now, our fairies are going to help us out. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now let's play these chords in order. 1, 2, 4, 7. That's not right. Stay still! Work with me! Cookies, cookies! Okay, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Miss out the 7, back to 1 again. So now we know the theory, we can apply it to real life situations. We'll look at two examples. First off, we need to choose a key or a scale to play in. Here, we want keys and chords that are easily accessible to us. This is a beginner's guide to songwriting, and therefore I'll assume that you're most familiar with open chords. Since the first chord of a major scale is a major chord, if we start with any open major chord, we can work out which other open chords work with it. Let's start with E major. Because we're using the E major chord, we'll be using the E major scale as our key. If you started with the G major chord, you would use the G major scale as your key. For this process, whatever kind of chord you start on, that's the type of scale that you'll be in. So if you start on a major chord, you'll be in a major key. Laying out the E major scale, we can see the first chord is an E major, the second is an F sharp minor, the third is a G sharp minor, the fourth is an A major, the fifth is a B dominant, the sixth is a C sharp minor, and the seventh is a D sharp minor 7 flat 5. And now we can see which chords work with the E major scale. If we don't know some of the chords, like the minor 7 flat 5, we can look them up online, or we can simply not use them. Like I said, for this lesson, we're only looking at the major, minor and dominant, because these are the three most commonly used chords in popular music today. You may have created a MIDI progression already, or you want to use one that you like the sound of. In this case, knowing what chords fit with your existing progression will help you work out what other chords you can play with it, enabling you to develop it further. So here we need to match our existing type chords with the ones in a major scale. For example, let's use the C and D progression. Here we have two major chords a tone apart. The only place in a major scale where you have two major chords a tone apart is the fourth chord and the fifth chord. The dominant chord can be considered a major chord because it is a major chord with a flat 7 added to it. From here, we just need to count the major scale backwards, where we find out that G is our first chord. So the C and D chords fit into the key of G major. Now we can fill in the other notes of the G major scale, and we now have the chords of the key of G major. Awesome! We now know how to figure out which chords work together in the major scale. What we still need to figure out though is how these chords interact with each other to create tension and resolution, the driving force in music. As well as this riddle. What do these four symbols mean? How do we open the chest? And are fairies really cannibals? To be continued in part 2.